Hi there, Francis Potter here talking about large repo generator. This is a somewhat half-baked but still kind of useful tool that I've developed that is now publicly available. It's in the quality folder, so gitlab.com, gitlab.org quality large repo generator, and it looks kind of like this. The objective of this is to make it very, very easy to generate large repos, i.e. multiple gigabytes of completely random content for the purposes of testing essentially monorepo type functionality. I think it needs some more work. I think it needs a way of generating doing the git commits and generating multiple commits and generating refs, because ref counts are an important component of monorepos and doesn't quite get there, but it does a few things, does them well. So I figure it's a starting point. And if I put it out there and make a video, maybe someone else will pick it up and do something with it. So let's dive in and take a look. I'm just going to go straight to my terminal window here. I've got, let me make this a bit bigger. Yeah, there we go. I've got the large repo generator here. It's a Python 3 script, so you need Python 3 on your computer. And there's a little bit of a README, but I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate it. So I'm here in a, oops, there we go. Yeah, I'm here in a directory that doesn't have much in it, but it does have a config file. So there are two ways, actually three ways of configuring large repo generator. The first way is to have a config file. The second way is to use environment variables. And the third way is just to rely on the defaults that are already in the Python script. I recommend the config file. Not even sure why I enabled the other ways. And the config file has a number of different sort of factors in it. There are three kinds of files that large repo generator will generate. The first is what it calls code files, which are sort of meant to look a little bit like code files. So they're a certain number of lines, a certain number of characters per line. They're all text, right? Then there are large files, which are actually binaries, random binaries. So this is meant to emulate if your repo has, like videos or other large binary files in it. And then the third kind is what it calls small files, which are just a few characters. Sometimes a customer really wants a specific number of files, so you have to kind of adjust all these different numbers in order to sort of get there. So I've generated, this is actually a really, really small, it's not a large repo, it's going to be a small repo file here. So in order to run this, I'm going to do Python 3. I'm going to call the generator itself, and I'm going to pass in this config file. And I'm in the directory where I want the large repo to be generated. Now in this particular case, I've got the config file in the same directory. Obviously, that's not necessary. So it always confirms, since it's going to be doing a lot of work, it always confirms what it's going to do. It says, okay, I'm going to generate about 801,000 bytes, which is 0.001 gigabytes spread across 220 files. Approximately 49% of the repo is in large files. This is because we had a customer who actually requested that 80% of the repo be large files. So we had to make sure we were getting that right. It tells you where it's doing the generation, type yes to proceed, and you have to actually type yes in order to proceed. And then it does the work. So small files, large files, and code files. And so there you go, ping, all done. And if I LSAL, I could see code files, large files, and small files. And you can see if we go to code files, for example, there's just a whole bunch of files. If I say cat file, you can see that this is completely random text that's been inserted here. And so part of the objective is to make sure that it's random so that there's no chance of any duplication, because keep in mind that Git will optimize if a file is a duplicate of another file. So some people have the idea of like putting 6 copies of the Linux repo in a repo. But actually, if you have 6 copies of the exact same thing, it's going to get optimized differently from if you have completely random content. So this the objective here is to be able to completely randomize that. Anyway, hope that's helpful. And that's what I got for today.